do when your bad hair day turns into weeks or even months? No, seriously, that's the question. What the heck do you do? Hey, it's Kim Castle. You're watching kimTV, where you discover how to live agelessly. There's so much information about getting your hair back on the internet. On YouTube alone, you can find thousands of videos of people talking about what they did to get their hair back. But that's YouTube. You never know what's real and, well, who's crazy. After hours of research and combing through hundreds of hair replacement experts, I found someone who could help me understand what in the world is going on and, more importantly, what I can do to fix it. Honestly, I was blown away that she could find time in her very busy schedule to share the real skinny on vanishing hair. Dr. Holly Lucille is a nationally recognized naturopathic doctor, a natural product consultant, and television host. She's been on Dr. Oz, The Doctors, Montel Williams, PBS's Healing Quest, and much more. She's the author of Creating and Maintaining Balance, A Woman's Guide to Safe Natural Hormone Health, a practicing physician in Los Angeles, and she has a radio show on Radio MD. I said amazing, right? In addition to her passion for helping people live well, she teaches CrossFit and rides a motorcycle, and she plays the guitar. I suspect she's really Wonder Woman. Oh, and you're going to want to take notes. She's a fountain of youth knowledge. Holly, thank you so much for taking time out of your very busy day to join me to talk about what we used to have on our head, but now is in our hands.
Yeah, I would say I do, as long as it, well, mostly to men, as long as it doesn't fall off your personality. But this is really an issue. It is. It's a real issue.
You know, I didn't, I was sick and I didn't know it. The chronic fatigue, adrenal burnout, like I got to a point where I couldn't get out of bed. Like I'd wake up and go, oh my God, am I still alive? Why? That deep, deep sense, which is so not me. But even so, if it wasn't for my hair falling out, I would have not done anything about it. Do you see that a lot in your practice?
Absolutely. It's almost the number one thing that is really pulling people through my door, is that finally it's that their hair is falling out. And it's the very, very, after we discover and get in there and have great conversations, and I have good clinical acumen and I want to really understand all contributing factors. The hair falling out got the woman's attention. It's the very, very tip of the iceberg. That's the good and bad news, all right? We're on a roll at least. Right,
so by the time the hair is falling out, does that mean the thing that's wrong has been wrong for a long time? Is the hair the last result, the last sign of your body saying, hello, I'm gonna get your attention somehow?
Well, you're hoping that it's the last sign, because if that was ignored, then the process could continue, perhaps past the point of no return. So maybe we could look at this as an opportunity. Certainly as we age, there are normal variations, and hair thinning is one of them. And that has to do with hormonal influences, and we can talk more about that. Mm-hmm. But definitely, if that's not getting your attention, then something else will.
Everywhere, and I see all the hair replacement and the Rogaine and all of that stuff, and it's sad that I think we tend to go to that rather than get to the root of really what's going on. So what's going on? What's causing that?
Sure. I love how you're thinking, because so as a naturopathic doctor, identifying and treating the cause is a huge principle of mine, okay? So getting to the root issue so you can truly heal from the inside out, right? Pardon the pun?
Yes, really. No, let's be punny.
Pun intended. So there's a couple. So honestly, everybody's an individual. And it's really not a cookie cutter situation. But as we age, there's a couple things that could go on. First of all, like you talked about adrenal burnout, adrenal dysregulation. So with that, and we'll just kind of contain that with what happens after you respond to chronic stressors without the amount of rest and reparation that you need, okay, depending on how profound and compounded and, forever and ever long these stressors are strung together.
Right.
So you get this adrenal dysregulation, your hypothalamus pituitary adrenal axis. It's just, we're not responding to stress in that way that we should. We're not recovering. It's not this full circle. It's kind of like this sympathetic do loop. Your sympathetic nervous system, fight, flight, fight, flight. Yeah. And these days, by balancing your checkbook, getting an email that you perceive in a very aggressive way or what have you. I mean, there's so many things. And so when that happens, secondarily always, your thyroid is going to honestly, in a compensatory way. So I don't call it chronic constipation, I call it chronic compensation. Your thyroid knows this lady is in trouble, and if I let this go, so your thyroid at the end of the day is really responsible for aerobic and anaerobic metabolism of every cell in your body, right? So it pulls on the brakes, it does. It starts to underfunction, and one of the number one signs of a thyroid underfunctioning, and the thyroid underfunctions for many different reasons, and that's the key, right? We have to understand why. But if it's secondary to adrenal dysregulation, your hair is going to start to thin. Your eyebrows are going to start to thin. That's one of the number one signs of an underfunctioning hypometabolism sign of thyroid, secondary to a lot of other things. We don't want to pathologize the natural aging process and what happens, but
why not?
Right? Because it can lead to drastic behavior. We don't want any of that.
Lots of wine.
There's something called androgenic alopecia.
Yes,
Don't
I've
even
read
worry about that, right?
Right.
So what happens is our hormones, so the sign, this natural time of the end of natural fertility, menopause, right? One's celebrated, one's lovely, one's beautiful. Just marking our natural end of fertility, it comes along and our hormones naturally start to decline. And even though testosterone and estrogen are declining, there's actually an increase in testosterone because you don't have enough, the estrogen is going quicker, and so it's not being able to block the testosterone's response. So sometimes that gets converted to something called DHT, and that actually then will lead to the hair loss. And so there's also a lab test that I would say if you just go for your regular physical, a lot of women aren't getting this done, but it's ferritin. So it's Ferritin. I'm a horrible speller, and I think I did that okay.
That's iron, right?
It's iron storage for the most part. But I have noticed that anything under 50, and this is one of those lab tests when we're looking at reference range labs where it has like a range from 26 to 350, right? So if you're at 27, your doctor's like, oh, you're within normal limits. And I'm like, if my son came home and said, not that I have a son, but I thought it was a good story. But let's say your son or anybody else's son comes home and says, look, I got a 36 on my test. And it was like from 0 to 100. You know, would you like be going, no, it's not optimal. It's not where we want. It's not ideal. We want into the 90s and the 100s. We want B plus, A minus. We want, even like C plus is fine too. And that's what we want to think about. We want to think about optimal levels for these lab tests, especially when we're aging. And so ferritin, I see under 50, I see a lot of hair thinning. And then when we replete that, so I think I made up that word, but if something's depleted, I want to replete it.
Right.
With good absorbable iron, increased vitamin C to have that iron be more absorbed as well, I see the hair stop to thin, and people love it.
So you're giving me some hope. So is it possible to get your hair back?
Yes. So here's the thing. Now, obviously, if the follicle is dead and it falls out, but yes, you can regenerate that. That can be regenerated. Your body is one of the most amazing things or our bodies are the most amazing things I've seen. The regeneration process, it's always working to do that. So once again, as a naturopathic doc, what I do is I want to understand obstacles to cure, and to do obstacles of what? It's that brilliant healing mechanism that we have internally. But the body's always working for you, so yes, there's the possibility of regeneration is absolutely astounding, and you should never, ever, ever forget that. Because as soon as we can identify and treat the cause, get those obstacles to cure out of that, support the body's natural inherent ability to heal, we're gonna be on fire, and your hair's gonna get back.
Gotcha. Now, it won't be back to like I had in the 80s.
No.
or it just will be healthier, right. And it won't be.
And you probably wouldn't want that anyway.
No. Well, I hear Duran's coming back.
They are. I can't wait. So no, I think that we have to be definitely realistic when it comes to that, and understand natural aging, right? So there are these hormonal fluctuations, there are some competitors, and there's our environment as well. And so I think we have to be realistic and, but not lose hope for sure.
Like if somebody's hair is falling out, what are some of the first 3 things that they should start looking? What should they do?
Okay, so if it's age appropriate, as far as like, let's say there's a hormonal transition, normal hormonal transition going on, like menopause, go ahead and you can get that evaluated, so at least that you know what's going on. So
It's like sex
FSH
hormone tests.
Yeah, sure, absolutely. There's some great functional medicine tests. I like to do a 24-hour urine collection, actually, to see the whole sort of sterogenic pathway. Oh my gosh, it's the best test in the world. You can sort of see where your adrenals are pulling, and there's compensation. You can see if there's deficiencies. I love it, I love it, I love it. You can see how your liver is managing your estrogen. And so there's those tests that you can do more from a functional medicine doctor like myself. And please, monitor your own results. Don't let your doctor just say, hey, if you don't hear from us, let's just consider these tests normal. No, you got to take responsibility for those results and make sure they're in your hands and they're in your eyes. You're watching stuff like this, and you know that you don't want just within normal limits. Who wants to be that? You want to be awesome, and you want to be optimal.
What can we do naturally from a minerals, vitamins, food-based? What can we do, besides, stepping away from the blow dryer and the hot iron? Back up and step away from the counter, ma'am. What can we do? What can we eat? What can we feed ourselves? I've been reading you can eat, protein and collagen and, bioaccessible protein.
Yeah.
What can we put in here to help here?
Yeah, of course. So I love that you say that, collagen. Bone soup, is really, really kind of with the whole paleo trend.
Like faux, or something like that, yep.
Yeah, but no, bone, actually from bone and bone marrow. So that's such an incredibly nutritive source. I always encourage people to eat high off the Andes score, and that stands for Aggregate Nutrient Density Index. So how many nutrients per calorie is a food or a substance? Like king kale, bam, 1,000.
Oh, I thought you meant like Peru. Like they have some superfoods there.
Yeah, no, Andes, just that it's called Aggregate Nutrient Density Index, and you can just, search online for that and you can see. And so that's high nutrient content. So those vitamins, minerals, honestly, make sure that your digestion is actually on par, because it's not what you eat anymore. It is you are what you absorb. So any constipation, gas, bloating, if there is dysbiosis, meaning a bunch of stuff in your system that's growing that shouldn't be growing at the amounts that it's growing.
Gotcha. And
all the good stuff are probiotics that are not plentiful. And so stuff that should be there that isn't there, you're going to get candida or non-candida fungal overgrowth, other bacterial overgrowth, that can spur on hair loss like that as well. So that digestion, to make sure you get proper mineral absorption, is extremely important. Other foods, make sure that your essential fats are on board. So there's tons of great fats.
Threes and sixes and stuff like that?
I would say omega-3s, mostly cold water fish, mackerel, salmon, herring. Of course, good triglyceride form fish oil supplements are awesome. And then
krill, like do red krill kind of stuff?
That is another TV show that you and I should do. Just the difference between all of the essential fats.
That would be great.
So and then also just make sure you're getting great quality food, good clean food of the macronutrients, protein, yes, good carbohydrates, sweet potatoes, your root vegetables. Mm-hmm. Decrease your processed grains, decrease your trans fats and saturated fats.
Gotcha.
And food triggers, food sensitivities. I always kind of put somebody on a blood type diet, believe it or not, for the first month, if this is going on, and they are amazed. Do not get discouraged. If you watch this segment, or if you look, whatever you're doing to try to get a hold of what's going on and it's not working, just travel that journey, follow your body, check off things. Gotcha. All right, well, it's not that, so we need to keep discovering.
It took me 9 months to get out of the hole. Yeah. I can't expect my hair to immediately come back on board.
That's a great point too. A lot of people come even into my practice, which I don't market. I let people find me because I feel like that's the best. I want people to understand, when you're looking at more comprehensive, common sense medicine and really taking care of yourself, there is no silver bullet, even if it's in the natural product world. Right. We've got to unwind the multitude of contributing factors, and this takes time sometimes, and you've got to be gentle with yourself and really adhere to a program. I just really want to dive in and see if I can't help people with somewhat of a manual. It's time to heal.
The missing manual that we never got.
Right. Yeah. Okay, I'm going to snip your umbilical cord, and then here's the manual, okay?
Please.
That's basically what should happen. But really, it's time to heal, how to get there and stay there. I just want to help people wake up and use their own mind to help them take care of themselves. Kind of like being their own PCPs. Everybody primarily in charge of providing care for themselves.
Oh, I love that. Because that's really the truth, isn't it? When you take that responsibility for your well-being, including your hair, you have it.
Yep, you got it.
And you can't blame anybody else.
No, yeah, so my website is the best place to capture all that stuff, and it's just drhollylucille.com.
And I'll have all those links in the description below. Wow, I can just feel that this is probably the first of many conversations that it could. Would you come back?
Oh, all the time. I mean, I didn't have to travel very far, and I'm wearing yoga pants, so this is awesome.
Me too. Amazing, right? Dr. Lucille makes losing your hair sound so simple to fix. Her passion for being well and the responsibility it takes to live it is contagious. I can't wait to have her back to talk about other aging stuff that you can prevent. You can follow Dr. Lucille on Twitter and Facebook, and I recommend that you subscribe to her blog. So do you have a question for Dr. Lucille? Let me know in the comments section, and I'll make sure to get an answer from her. Or tweet it to me at Kim Castle with the hashtag OMGMyHair. Thank you so much for inviting me into your life today. Every week I share tips, recipes, and answers that I discover on the anti-aging road back to vitality, energy, and feeling your best. If you enjoyed this today, please let me know and share kimTV with a woman that you love. Until next time, live life on full. Oh, and if you're new here, there's tons more videos like this one. Have you seen my gluten-free, sugar-free blondies video? They're so good you might just forget about your hair for the moment. And while your mouth is watering, please subscribe to kimTV on YouTube. It's free and means no other commitment on your part. It just means you like what I share and you're interested in seeing what else I'm going to dish up. Just look for the red subscribe button.